We are absolutely swimming in data. But what does it all really mean? Well, over the next few minutes, we're going to learn how to take a big, confusing pile of numbers and actually turn it into a clear, compelling story.
Think about it. Every time you click something, buy something, every single minute you're online, you're creating data. But just having a bunch of numbers doesn't mean you have answers, right? The real trick is finding the actual insight that's hiding in all that noise.
So let me introduce you to Small Fry Design. They make these really adorable toys and accessories for kids. And like a ton of businesses, they've got this one critical problem. Their cash flow is totally unpredictable. I mean, they've all this data on every single invoice, when it was sent out, when it got paid, but right now, it's just a jumble of numbers on a spreadsheet. For them to make smarter decisions, they need to understand the story their data is telling. And guess what? That's exactly what we're going to help them do.
All right, so first things first, we have to find the center of their data. When Small Fry looks at all those invoices, what does a typical payment time even look like? To figure that out, we're going to need our very first tool.
And you definitely know this one. It's the average. The mean is kind of the workhorse of statistics. It's super simple. You just add up all your values, like say all the dollar amounts on their invoices, and then you divide by how many invoices you have. Boom! You get one single number that's supposed to represent the whole group.
Okay, let's look at an example to make this real. Here, we've got the starting salaries for 12 brand new business school grads. If we add them all up and divide by 12, we get a mean salary of $3,540 a month. Seems simple enough, right? And yeah, that feels like a pretty decent number for a typical starting salary. But what happens when the data gets a little messy?
Okay, just imagine one of these grads lands an insane deal. Maybe their family owns the company, I don't know, but suddenly they're making $10,000 a month. Whoa. That one single huge number, that's what we call an outlier. And here's the problem. It's going to yank our average, our mean, way, way up. It's going to make it seem like everybody is earning more than they really are. All of a sudden, the mean just isn't typical anymore. So now what do we do?
Well, we turn to our next tool, the median. And the median is just beautiful in its simplicity. Seriously, all you do is line up all your data points from smallest to largest, and you pick the one that's smack dab in the middle. That's it. It's the true center point of your data.
And this is the key difference. That one giant salary, it would totally drag the mean upwards, making it look like the whole group is richer. But the median, it barely even notices. It just doesn't care about the crazy numbers at the ends. It only cares about that middle position. So if you want to know what's really typical, especially when you have some wild numbers in the mix, the median is absolutely your best friend.
Okay, so we found the center. That's a great start. But knowing the typical value, that's really only half the story. The next big question we have to ask is, how consistent is this data? I mean, are all the numbers huddled up tight around the middle, or are they just scattered all over the place?
Let's put you in the driver's seat. Imagine you're choosing between two suppliers, okay? You've got Dawson Supply and J.C. Clark Distributors. You look at their delivery time data, and what do you know? On average, they both take 10 days to deliver your stuff. Their means are exactly the same.
So if you're just looking at the average, it's a tie, right? Does it even matter who you pick? I want you to take a really close look at these two charts. Yeah, the average is the same, but the shape of the data, that's a whole different story. Which one of these just feels more reliable to you?
To really answer that question, we need our third tool, standard deviation. Now, I know that sounds kind of complicated, but the idea behind it is actually super simple. It's just one number that tells you how spread out your data is. If you have a low standard deviation, that means consistency. All your numbers are clustered right around the average. A high standard deviation, that means your data is all over the map. And this right here is the answer. Look at Dawson Supply on the left. They've got a low standard deviation. Their delivery times are almost always 9, 10, or 11 days. You know what you're going to get. They're predictable. J.C. Clark, on the other hand, man, they are all over the place. Sometimes early, sometimes really late. They're totally unreliable. And in business, predictability is everything. You'd pick Dawson every single time. Okay, so we've got tools to find the center, and we've got a tool to measure the spread. Now it's time for the grand finale. How can we put all of this together? How can we see the center, the spread, and the entire shape of our data all at once in one single powerful picture?
Well, the answer starts with something called the 5-number summary. And it is exactly what it sounds like. We're just going to find 5 key numbers that basically give us a skeleton of our entire data set. We need the absolute smallest value, the absolute largest value, and 3 key points in between.
So what are those in-between points? They're called quartiles. Think of it like this. Just like the median cuts your data perfectly in half, quartiles cut it into 4 equal quarters. So Q1 is the 25th percentile mark, Q3 is the 75th percentile mark. And those 2 points, along with the median, perfectly map out the middle 50% of all your data.
And when you put those 5 numbers together, they create this, the box plot. And I'm not kidding, this is one of the most elegant and powerful charts in all of statistics. That box in the middle, that shows you exactly where the middle 50% of your data lives. The line inside the box, hey, that's our friend the median. And those lines sticking out, the whiskers, they show you the range of the rest of the data. You get the center, the spread, the range, everything in just one glance.
And hey, look at that. Do you see that little star, all by its lonesome, out on the right? That's our outlier. That's the super high salary we were talking about earlier. What's so cool about a box plot is that it automatically flags these things for you. Any values that are way far off from the rest of the data. It's like an instant visual alarm that screams, hey, you should probably take a closer look at this one.
Okay, wow, we've covered a lot of ground, haven't we? We've talked about the mean, the median, standard deviation, and box plots. So let's bring this all home. Why does any of this actually matter? What's the real-world payoff here? So let's just do a quick recap of our new toolkit. If you need a quick and dirty average, you use the mean. If you need to find the true typical value, one that ignores those crazy outliers, you use the median. If you want to measure consistency and risk, standard deviation is your go-to. And if you want to see the entire story in one beautiful picture, you use a box plot.
So let's circle all the way back to our friends at Small Fry Design. With these tools, they can now calculate the median time it takes to get paid. That gives them a really reliable estimate of what a typical wait time is. They can calculate the standard deviation to see just how unpredictable their payments are. And they can throw it all on a box plot to instantly spot those dangerously overdue invoices, the outliers. All of a sudden, their spreadsheet isn't just a boring list of numbers anymore. It's a strategic dashboard they can use to run their business.
And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. The actual president of Small Fry Design said it himself. Using these exact techniques gave them much better control over their cash flow. That is the power of finding the story in the numbers. It leads to better, smarter decisions in the real world.
And this goes so far beyond just one company's invoices. It doesn't matter if you're a scientist looking at experiment results, a marketer trying to track a campaign, or honestly, even just someone trying to get a handle on your own personal finances. These fundamental tools, this is the key to unlocking the truth that's hidden in the data.
Look, the world is generating more data now than at any point in history. It's literally everywhere, in your phone, at your job, all around your city. And hidden inside all that data are the answers to countless questions. And now you have the basic tools to start exploring. So the only question left is, what stories are you going to uncover?